the G7 summit in Italy. The leaders have been spending the day enjoying an ancient Greek amphitheatre and an aerobatic show, as well as sharing jokes at a round table. Well, to discuss this more, I'm now joined live by body language expert Darren Stanton. Well, Darren, this is going to be interesting. I like this one. You've been following the G7 summit in Sicily. For more than half the leaders, this is their first as a body language expert. What's the impression that you've had?
Good evening. Well, for myself as a body language expert, it's been absolutely fascinating looking at all the different world leaders and responses, especially, obviously, President Trump is one of the key players in terms of the gestures that he makes.
Well, moving on from Trump, let's have a look at Trump. Coming back to Trump. No, we must do Trump. Trump and Merkel apparently sharing a private joke at the G7 roundtable there, looking very informal. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting gesture, wasn't it, with German Chancellor sort of making this gesture with a hand. It was almost like being a naughty child, having a private joke with President Trump, and he seemed to be a little bit amused, didn't he? So it was just a bit of a private moment, I thought. It was a nice moment.
Well, as you're probably under no surprise here, he was the focus of attention for the journalists and possibly the other leaders as well. I mean, here we can see the group of leaders surrounding him, listening carefully and laughing. I mean, do you get the impression that all eyes were on him?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with President Trump, he's very much the sort of person that wants to assert his power and very much be seen as a key figure within the summit. And we can see that in terms of lots of the different gestures that he makes in terms of his handshake, the way he carries himself. So I think he's very much wants to be seen as the key man there.
Well, there's another newbie there as well. I mean, I was going to allude to President Macron, but we can see him too. In this video, you can see the domino effect caused by him. He started to wave to the public and the others followed. I mean, the online commentators dubbed it the War of the Waves. I mean, was this a battle to grab the most attention, or was it something else in your opinion? What do you reckon?
Absolutely. I think it was a battle of the waves. I mean, you can see, obviously, President Macron starting to wave, and then, as you say, President Trump begins to do the same. But then we also see the President make this sort of gesture, this power gesture with his fist, as if to get one up on him. And then once he realised that everybody else had stopped waving, he obviously stopped waving as well. So it was all about, trying to be getting the upper hand.
But there's also a couple of other social media users. They spotted what they called the bromance between Macron and Canada's leader, Justin Trudeau. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, again, when we see people that are getting on very, very well, that are in rapport, there's a state what we call matching and mirroring. And as we can see the two men walking together, we can see in terms of their posture, they are very, very similar. So I think it's clear they've got a mutual respect and a deep rapport with each other. So I think that's quite a genuine friendship and respect for each other's authority.
And one final question, this is kind of off the top of my head, but I'm just wondering, it's the G7 for so many newbies there, as we've seen some of the new leaders coming through. In the battle of appearing confident, even if they're not confident, who do you think won?
I'm sorry, I lost my earpiece there, so could you just say that, ask for that again, please?
Yeah, sure, of course. It's G7 summit, some new members there. We've seen them, Donald Trump, Theresa May, Macron, some others as well. In a sense of appearing confident in their new role, who do you think sort of came out on top or appeared to?
I think certainly Prime Minister Trudeau, President Macron seem to be very, very comfortable in their own skin, really. I think obviously President Trump has got his own little ways of asserting his power, but essentially for me, I think certainly Mr Trudeau and Mr Macron are coming out as being very, very confident and comfortable in their surroundings.
Really fascinating stuff. Thank you very much indeed. Darren Stanton, body language expert, thank you for your time. Thank you.